My name is Michael Murray. I'm the president of the Chamber of Commerce here for Portugal Cove, St. Phillips. And first, I want to touch on a few things. First of all, from the other evening when we had the federal lead candidates, this book was left behind. So if anybody knows, anybody who owns that book, here it is. It'll be up here at the back. Few housekeeping notes is for everybody to turn off their phones. I'm taking pictures here. No? And as well to ask for respect in following the layout for the meeting and to be respectful of each other and the candidates as well would be appreciated. I'm just going to take a minute. There's a great turnout of candidates, and I'm going to start down there with you, Mr. Tucker, and ask you all to just introduce yourselves. So, go ahead, sir, and then come up the line.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. I'll fight with the mic, by the way. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for turning up. There's a fine crew of you, and appreciate the opportunity of being here tonight to participate in this forum. My name is Moses Tucker. I'm born and raised here in Portugal Cove, St. Phillips, and chaired the Committee for the Incorporation of Town of Phillips in 1978. So my background in municipal politics here in this community is deep, and I look forward to participating into getting elected for another council and get back on there again and take some things forward from here. That's it. Thank you.
Tina?
Good evening, everybody. I echo the same sentiments as my neighbor here, Mr. Tucker. Thank you so much for coming out this evening. It's great to see everybody still interested. There's been a lot going on with elections and politics, I suppose, over the last few weeks and months. So it's great to see that we still have a following. I have been one of your town councilors for the last 4 years. In 2017, I was very fortunate to be elected. I have been here in Portugal Cove, St. Phillips with my husband Brian and my children since 2012. Before that, I am a CFA, I guess everybody called me. I'm from Ontario originally, but that's okay. I don't hold that against myself either. Looking forward to an opportunity to continue what I have so enjoyed in the last 4 years. Individuals who may have remember back in 2017, I stood up here brand new and didn't have a clue what I was doing. I profess to know a little bit more. I've learned a lot in the last 4 years and really would like the opportunity to learn that much more again over the next 4 years. One of the things too that I think is important that I'd love the opportunity to continue is most recently I was very fortunate to be elected as Avalon Director with municipalities in Newfoundland and Labrador, and that has a 2-year term with that, and we were just elected back in the spring. So in this seat, if I have that opportunity, I will be able to continue with my seat with MNL as well and continue to represent. So thank you very much.
Madame?
Hi, thank you. Looking around the room here, I know most of you, but I'll continue on. My name is Madame Stuart Sharp. I've been here for 30 years, originally from the Bjorn Peninsula. Married, I live here, I guess, and raised my 3 children. I had a steep learning curve on the last 4 years of being on council, and it was very enjoyable, and I learned a lot. I'm a volunteer. I've been always a volunteer in very many aspects of life for about 30 years plus, and I enjoy speaking to people, helping people, and that's what I like to continue to do.
Ms. Rob?
Thank you, sir. My name is Dave Bartlett, and I've lived in Portugal Cove, St. Phillips for the past 27 years in Olive Carroll, and we've raised our 3 children. My education background, Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Education, Memorial University. I have a Master's degree in Education from Mount St. Vincent. Currently in Social Studies Department head at Brookside, our youth school. One of the things very important to me is volunteering. I'm also a member of Zoe Troners. I'm the band director. I've been a coach of soccer for over 21 years. volunteering is in my blood, and I've also been a member of council since 2013, chair of public works. One of the things I'm most proud of is that in 8 years as being on council, I've missed 2 meetings in 8 years. So thank you for the opportunity in the past 2 years, and thank you everyone for showing.
Your worship. Sure.
Yes, my name is Carol McDonald. I think just about everybody knows who I am. And I'm not going to tell you how long I've been in Portrait Gulf St. Phillips, but you can all figure that out for yourselves. I have been in business for 30 odd years, and I thoroughly enjoy politics. I have all my life. And in 1978, I was the first mayor of Portugal Cove. It was 2 separate towns then, and in 1992 they amalgamated, but I was living in St. John's then. I longed to come back to Portugal Cove St. Phillips, and when I did, this is what I wanted to do. So I took it on again, and thank the people of Portugal Cove St. Phillips who had enough trust in me to put me back in politics and put me at the mayor's table, and I hope that I can do it again. And I look forward to another 4 years with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. John?
Thank you. Most people here know me, but for those that don't, my name is John Hanlon. I've lived in Portugal Cove St. Phillips all my life. I'm married to my wife Denise, who's here tonight, and raised 2 children here in Portugal Cove St. Phillips, and started volunteering when the 2 children started with sports way back almost 20 years ago now. Volunteer has been part of our lives as a family for as long as I can remember. I was elected to council 8 years ago. I enjoyed every minute of it. It was 2 very different sets or terms of council, but each one had its ups and downs, and to move forward, I decided to put my hat in the ring for the mayor's chair. I work in property management and have done for the past 20 years, and have been managing people and situations every day in those 21 years, 20 plus years. And I find that what I do in the daytime is very similar to how our town runs and how the council and the structure is the same. And I think my experience managing people, and not just managing frontline people, but managing managers, which is a different thing that not everybody gets to do. And I see the position as mayor as someone that's actually managing a group of managers and making a team out of it that could bring this town forward in the right way. Thank you.
Thank you. Darrell?
Hi, my name is Darrell. You notice it says J there, Harding. Since my grandfather died, I always use his initials in there. My grandparents were from Portugal Cove. On my dad's side, Gerald Harding, and on my mom's side, Anna Tucker and her family was from St. Phillips. So I'm well embedded. Grew up on Harding's Hill. Had to go find a girl in Colliers to marry me. Nobody else wanted me, and then I moved back here to spend the last years of my life in the town where I spent my first years of my life. For the last 4 years, I've been very excited, and I'm very blessed to serve on a council that I think was very diverse, had a good share of ideas, and no matter what the temperature was in the room when we started discussing and debating, we always came out and realized that the team effort for doing what the town put us in to do. You asked us to do a job, and I think we did our job very well. I'm very proud of being chair of planning and development in a controlled way. We have controlled planning and development with emphasis on protecting our environment and climate change variables, as well as listening to the people of our town. We've had public input on several, on all projects and on several of those projects. Because of the public input, council decided to go a different route. We're not too proud to say, no, we're going to do it anyway. We're not that way, I should say. And we're not too proud to admit that maybe we should rethink our plan. I'm also very proud that I was on the Admin and Finance Committee, and I think the finances of our town over the last 4 years, along with working with the support of the rest of council, has put us in a very good position moving forward. And I look forward to hopefully having you guys consider me for councillor in the next election.
Thank you. Sir.
Good evening. I wish to thank the Chamber of Commerce for holding this event. I've been a resident of Portugal Cove St. Phillips for 16 years. I have a diverse background, and I think I have a lot of education, I have a lot of management experience. I used to manage the Canadian Liquid Air in Kinmount Road, here to Key today. If anybody looked at the AUG, I should have had one in the mail by now. All of the charities that I've been involved in, I'm very, very community minded, and I think that given an opportunity to serve on council will just push me that much farther to make this town one of the best. That's what we got to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Duff.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paul Duffett, and I've been a resident of Portugal Cove St. Phillips since the 60s, over 50 years. And I live on Old Rock Grove Road with my wife, and raised 2 children, and I'm happily involved with a granddaughter here in town right now. My family came here in the 60s and started a firm and operated a hog and poultry farm throughout the 60s into the 90s, which kept everybody busy for lots of activities during the summer and so on. And I'm an engineer. I've had over 40 years experience in the engineering community. I've operated a consulting company for the last 40 years, and I've done a lot of work throughout the province. I've worked with municipalities on the Avalon and other parts of the island and the Labrador. And this is my first foray into municipal politics, and would very much like to see what I could do to assist the community in moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we've got quite a slate of candidates, and I'd like to just thank you all for offering yourself, and I'd like to give you a round of applause, please. Thank you.
Jeff Lyon got called to the hospital.
Okay.
That's why he's not here.
Okay, Jeff Lahan has just announced that he's been called on a family emergency. His father's fallen ill, and they're at the hospital, and he offers his apologies here for not participating. So our wishes go with Jeff and his family at this trying time, and hope that his father finds a good recovery. Thank you for letting us know. So I just want to take a moment here as well just to talk about the Chamber of Commerce for just a brief moment. One of the things that we're hoping will happen, as we have seen over the last 4 years, that we will continue as a chamber to work collaboratively with the new council. Over the 4 years that the chamber's been together, we've had a great opportunity to be involved in a number of really interesting projects. We were instrumental with the town in developing a tourism plan. We've also participated in the formation of a Partners for the Arts group, which is wonderful to see our artists in the community recognized. We've also launched a Live Local website to help local business develop their business acumen in terms of marketing skills, promotion of the products. We've also helped build capacities for our small business members to be able to handle some of the aspects of the COVID protocols that we're all still operating under. Also, we've had some great input and participation with our council over issues such as cost reduction, control of costs, and helping deal with taxation and trying to level off the mounting taxes that we were experiencing for some time. So we're hoping that these kinds of efforts will continue into the future. I know that we've all collectively over the last period of time learned an awful lot about climate change, about our environment, about the value of our environment. And I have to praise us all for participating in that, because those challenges are going to continue. So without further ado, I'm going to turn the mic over to Erin Gallant, who will be doing the land recognition piece for us. Erin, are you here?
Yep.
Good. So thank you so much for your attention here tonight, and good luck.
Erin Gallant. Hello, my name is Erin Gallant, and I am a Mi'kmaq woman from the Hollywood Band in Cornerbrook, and I'm happy today to be here. We respectfully acknowledge the territory in which we gather as the ancestral homelands of the Beothuk, and the island of Newfoundland as the ancestral homelands of the Mi'kmaq and the Beothuk. We would also like to recognize the Inuit of Nunatsiavut and Nunatuckavut and the Inuit of Nitassian and their ancestors as the original people of Labrador. We strive for respectful relationships with all the peoples of this province and country as we search for a collective healing and true reconciliation and honor this beautiful land together. Walalio, thank you. And now I'd like to call upon Dr. Farrell Cal.
Okay, good evening, welcome. So I'm going to basically moderate this evening. I'm going to go through a few of the processes that we're going to be using this evening. So there's going to be 6 questions asked, and each candidate will get a chance to respond to that question. I want to make sure that you realize you have 60 seconds to answer that question. Erin Gallant sitting in front of me will show you a yellow card at 45 seconds, and then you'll see red at 60 seconds. So that would mean please stop abruptly. Please be fair, because every candidate will do their best to meet that deadline when they're speaking, and we want to make sure that we're able to give everybody not only the same amount of time and fairness, but at the same time we want to try to keep ourselves on time. So that's going to be quite important that we make sure we follow that rule, and you will probably hear me say that a couple of times as we go through these rounds. So I think we're basically pretty good to start in. There's really no other housekeeping besides the idea for us to go through these questions, and please answer in the most professional manner that you can. We're going to start on the far end, so that would mean that Gavin Will is not here, and we know that Jeff Lahan is also not here. So we're going to start with Paul Duffett, and we're going to work our way down until we reach Moses Tucker, and then Moses Tucker will then begin the next question, and then we'll go that way through the questions of rounds, okay? And I will make sure I remind you as we go. So I don't believe there's really anything else. Again, I very much wish to thank you for being here. Again, I champion everything that Michael has said about the collaboration between the Chamber of Commerce and the town. I've been a member for the past 3 years, and obviously a part of the board for the same length of time. And it's been very exciting to be involved. And I grew up in St. John's, and my family's been here now for 8 years, raising our children, which has been fantastic. So we love where the community is headed. Every time we go to other communities and we speak to other chambers, we're still excited about their involvement and the fact that we have as much or more involvement at our size. And that's very exciting for some of the things that we've been able to achieve. So very excited to maintain those relationships and hoping that council realizes the benefits of what small businesses have to offer when it comes to decisions being made at the municipal level. So thank you again very much for everybody being here. We're going to start in on the questions. The questions we read aloud twice. So then you'll have to use your memory, obviously, to remember the question. You can ask for it, but please do your best to remember the question, as it will save time. And this, again, will be read twice, and then I will pass it over to Paul Duffett to be able to begin his answer. So, question 1. Over the past 4 years, we have seen a substantial decrease in municipal taxes. The town's expenditures have substantially decreased as well. As we are sure we all would agree, an increasing tax burden is crippling for individual citizens, particularly those on fixed incomes and stipends, and it stymies small business growth and development. What is your plan to continue with the current administration's policies of responsibly reducing spending and responsible affordable level of taxation? Again, over the past 4 years, we have seen a substantial decrease in municipal taxes. The town's expenditures have substantially decreased as well. As you are sure that we all agree that increasing taxes is a burden and crippling on individual citizens, particularly those with fixed incomes, and stymies small business growth and development. What is your plan to continue with the current administration's policy of responsible reducing spending, responsible affordable level of taxation? And we will start with Paul Duffett, please.
Thank you. The town has, year over year for the past 5 years, been able to reduce expenditures from a peak of just over 15 million to last year, I think it was in the order of a little over 13 million, which is a substantial step forward. And it's a gradual approach. And I think that's the most important thing. The reduction in expenditures, reduction in taxes has to be gradual over time.
Thank you very much, Paul Duffett. Cyril Hayden.
Thank you for that question. I have to applaud the council for taking the bold step and reducing taxes. I personally feel that I'm still paying the taxes. My taxes are way, way too high. I think that we should have a long-term strategy to include identifying efficiencies to the best use of taxpayers' dollars. And you might say, well, we got all the efficiencies looked at, but I'm sure that if you look a little deeper, you can always find efficiencies. And I think that we just have to keep looking for efficiencies in the organization. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you very much. Daryl Harding.
Thank you, Farrell. For the last 4 years, town council has taken a step-by-step slow approach in becoming more efficient with the dollars that we have in our operation. We did this by finding operational efficiencies, by paying close attention to our asset management for our equipment and for our operational needs. What that means is we didn't go buy trucks. We took care of our trucks, and we got as much longevity out of the trucks and equipment that we could have. Also, we had to realize responsibly as a government the impacts of COVID-19 on the people of the town, and we were compassionate to utilizing and working with a fair formula of the municipal assessments on the properties to not overwhelm the people of the town. One of the serious benefits of having a slow approach is to take input from everybody. And it's important moving forward that we get this input. The next red is stop. Is that red or orange? Sorry.
That's
Red. That's stop. Thank you very much.
No, I very much appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, so we'll move on to Johnny Henry.
Thank you. Yes, as my 3 colleagues next to me said, that we brought taxes back into a more efficient and cost-saving measures have been taken in the town. The residents are happy with the taxes. Taxes relate in the municipal government directly to the amount of services to the people. Having heard from a lot of people in the community how well our services are still being received, whether it's through recreation or garbage pickup or snow clearing or whatever the case may be, we haven't had any real complaints in the last couple of years, so it looks like we can still do this in an efficient manner and keep the taxes at a reasonable amount for residents. Thank
Thank you very much. Carol McDonald.
Well, I think the previous five have probably touched on everything, but I think keeping taxes down was my reason I got into this. And the expenditures, of course, went hand in hand with it. Our team has worked closely with the Administration and Finance Department of the town to help us see where we're going wrong, where we can change, and we have done that. And that's how we were able to keep the taxes down. All I can say is, my plan is, I want to keep it there. I want to keep moving it down, and going forward, let's get another 2 million off the table next year. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dave Bartley.
Thank you. As Chair of Public Works, one of the things that we look at a lot is cost of fuel. And cost of fuel is something that we have very little control of. We have to keep our plow trucks, our heavy equipment, our half tons going. One of the things we looked at was going green. And we applied for a program up to $800,000 in funding from the government. We are hoping in the very near future, maybe committing to a electric garbage truck, electric half tons, getting as much equipment as we can that will save us twofold, save us money, but it will also give us a better standing and better care of the environment as well.
Thank you very much. Madonna Stewart Chair.
Thank you. Over the past 4 years, I've been an effective member of the administrative and finance team who's been able to reduce our taxes, but still offer the same level of service that residents expect. My past education on business, I have a degree from Memorial University in business plus in education, which helped me make them decisions and also helped me to listen to the residents and for them to help us, because no one's an expert, we all need advice in moving forward and keeping the taxes down and offering the same level of service. And hopefully we can continue that in the next 4 years if I'm elected.
Thank you very much. Tina Neary.
Thank you, Phil. It's hard when you get to the end of the table and everybody's already had something to say, so I echo everybody else at the table, but just to add as well, I think one of the things that I always find most important is the fact that I too am a resident, and so whatever it is that happens, I too have to be involved in that. So with whatever's happening with taxes, I'm also paying my property taxes, and so I'm thrilled with what we've been able to do over the last 4 years. Last week we were in a meeting and somebody in the room made a comment, and we were talking about taxes and talking about fiscal responsibility, and somebody made a comment and said, you know, boys, you're not going to be able to continue to do this. It's been 4 years, you've done a great job, but somewhere things are going to have to change. I find that to be an awesome challenge. How do we reduce other expenditures then to make sure that people of this town do not have to be crippled, as the language is, by anything further as far as taxes are concerned? So plenty of opportunity to take a look at things and hope to continue on the same scale we have been in the last 4 years if I have the opportunity to still sit in the chair, in chambers, at the table. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Moses Tucker.
Thank you, sir. Costs. Costs are something that don't seem to be going down very much in recent past. In fact, costs are going up on almost everything, from fuel to lumber, you name it, labor. Everybody's looking for more money. So how do you satisfy that within council and still offer services that the public have become familiar with? So I would suggest that we set up a committee to develop some strategies and take into account the needs for services and how we can provide the same at less costs, thereby taking the opportunity to reduce taxes.
Thank you very much. Okay, I thank you very much for staying on time with the answers to that question. Again, I will read this question aloud twice, and then now we will actually begin with Moses Tucker. Moses, you will take the first response after this question has been read aloud twice. With climate change becoming more of an issue, what do you consider to be top priorities for a sustainable, healthy environment if elected, how would you work to ensure those priorities will be addressed? Again, with climate change becoming more of an issue, what do you consider the top priorities for sustainable, healthy environment? And if elected, how would you work to ensure the priorities will be addressed? Again, beginning to answer this question, first responder is Moses Tucker.
It seems that the climate change and the environment are intertwined, and the opportunities that we have are to adopt a plan to reduce our dependency on the things that are detrimental to where we are and where we're going. Electric motor vehicles is one of the things that's being introduced in a lot of particular places. We should look at doing something like that for our fleet of vehicles that we have. And anything that we can do to reduce the cost of our building operations, such as the introduction of heat pumps and some of the other items that reduce the cost of operating buildings.
Thank you very much. Tina Neary.
Thank you. Climate change, I've been very fortunate in the last 4 years to have played a big role with climate change and its involvement with the town as far as making things environmentally friendly, focusing on the need to reduce the carbon footprint, focusing on the need to continue to access any kind of services that are going to allow for just a better overall safe environment, I suppose. I have been a liaison to the advisory, to the Committee for Council for the Environment. I had the opportunity to represent the province last year in a climate leadership course that I was involved in. We've talked about in a great deal about, I'm the chair of the Economic Development Committee, so we've talked a great deal about recycling, electric vehicles. Climate change is real. I believe in that strongly, and I believe that I would still have the opportunity with all the information that I've gathered in the last 4 years and brought forward from what I've been involved in to continue to explore that and be involved with that in the next 4 years. Thank you.
Well done. Thank you very
Got
much.
that right there.
I appreciate that. Madonna Stewart, Chair.
Sorry. Hi. When it comes to climate change, yeah, it's very serious. For me as a councillor, I would like to monitor our current infrastructure and our new infrastructure to make sure that it adheres to what's going on in our world today with our environment. I love our rural community, and I would not want to see it all jam-packed together. That's going to affect us all in the long run. Developers, I would like for us to have more of a part in when they develop any subdivisions or any part of our community, that they have net zero runoff, and also use our advisory committees, who are really the smart people in this and who are the experts in this field, that can advise us as council on how to go forward in protecting our community.
Thank you very much. Dave Bartlett.
Yes, I mentioned earlier about conversion to a green fleet and $800,000 grant that we had. There's many things we can do. Our buildings run on oil, to maybe start to use solar panels, alternate forms of energy that have proven effective in other jurisdictions. Simple things in the town. We have no auditing process at Beachy Cove for the town vehicles, for Brookside. Basic little things that we can instill in people. From kindergarten to grade 9 in our community, just a program where we could discuss with the children about how things are made and what are the best things to buy in terms of clothing and sneakers that use up less resources and actually help the environment, and of course input from our townspeople. We have many experts here that we can certainly content as well.
Thank you very much. Carol McDonald.
Well, we all know climate change is real. We just had to look around this weekend. And since we're in 4 years ago, we've had 2 major storms, which is the Snowmageddon, which I think was climate change, had an effect, and this weekend. I would like to see our infrastructure, as Madonna mentioned, done the proper way so that it won't cost us over and over and over again because it wasn't done the right way. So that's one thing that I think is major. It will save money, save the town a lot of money, and let's keep our infrastructure and our new roads and everything the way we want them, get the proper people to show it, and we won't be paying out what we shouldn't. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Johnny Hanlon.
Thank you. Climate change, as both Carol and Tina and everyone else on the other side said, it is real, everyone, and it's here, and it's going to change everybody's lives in the coming years more and more every time that these unfortunate events and the type of weather that systems that are affecting our town. Both our town plan and our asset management plan and all the planning that was done in years gone by were never looked at with a climate change lens when it came to making a vision for the town. I think one of the first things we need to do is take a look at our asset management plan and put a climate change lens on it. And when I say asset management, I don't mean just physical assets, it's our natural assets that we need to look at too, and put a climate change lens on how we move forward to work with these assets.
Thank you very much. Darrell Harding.
Thank you, Farrell. It's ironic that this one comes right after a budgeting and taxation question. It's very important to recognize that climate change is here. It's already affecting us and will continue to affect us. We have just commissioned to have a full hydrological study done for our whole town, which will show all areas, even those that are not identified, that are environmentally sensitive. Then we have to work to cut back on development so that it doesn't hurt us. Because planning involves taking into account everything that's going to happen for the next 20 years. It's not about building houses to get a taxation base. Also, we have $3 million, or just about $3 million in our asset management fund. We need to protect our beaches. The tides are scheduled to go ahead and rise by 75% of a meter, 750 centimeters. We need to protect our wastewater facilities because they're very susceptible right now. We have to protect our beaches as well because they bring in tourism dollars. Thank you. So we need to leverage that $3 million. I know, Aaron, I know.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it. Cyril Hayden.
I think that one of the best ways we can fight climate change is through education. Promote education, education, education. Also, we can, with the advent of electric vehicles now, electric trucks, for example, it's a way we can keep abreast with what's happening in the environment. Recycling, I think, our 2,000 homes that we can encourage to be built, our 2,000. I think we should have, I don't know if we do have a bylaw, for example, 2 and 4 liter toilets in homes rather than the regular 13 liter. Could cut down dramatically. And I think solar and wind power can be another great way to tackle the environmental issue.
Thank you very much. Paul Duffin.
Being prepared for climate change is largely about awareness, preparing a plan, and creating action items in that plan. So one of the things that should be done up front is a climate action plan prepared for this town with real achievable objectives that protect infrastructure, build a way forward, and most importantly, be prepared for the changes that are to come.
Thank you very much. So that completes, again, our second question. Thank you very much again for staying on time. You've done so well thus far. Really appreciate it. So again, we're going to move on to the third question. We'll jump right in. Again, this will be read aloud twice. So make sure that you get your ears on, and away we go. What is your current position regarding the previous administration's high-density development and public works depot reallocation proposal at Maggie's Place? What is your position regarding the previous administration's high-density development and public works depot reallocation proposal at Maggie's Place? Again, we will be moving it down, and Paul Duffett, you will begin.
Not being part of council, I don't have the particulars associated with that, but from what I understand, land has been purchased. There's plans in place to consolidate the municipal depot. I think there's a number of facilities spaced throughout the town, and this site will give an opportunity to consolidate that with an eye, I'm assuming, that with an eye to overall cost reduction for those facilities. If that's the case, which is what I understand, then it sounds like a reasonable approach to dealing with ongoing problems.
Thank you very much. Sarah Hayden.
From what I know about it, and what I've learned about it, and I was not a party to all the details of it, but I would have to see more and more details before I would ever agree to move the town and its facilities to Maggie's. Subject closed.
Thank you very much. Darrell Harding.
Frankie, Sarah, you took too short. Well, I'm 100%, as most of you will probably already know, I'm 100% against Maggie's Place since the day that it was accepted by the previous council. It's the whole gamut of it makes no sense. The people that are living in the area weren't listened to. We redirected almost $1 million of project monies from other areas of the town into infrastructure for Maggie's Place. We purchased the town, not our council, the previous one. We purchased a piece of land that was appraised at $50,000. We paid over $800,000 for it. We never even asked for any input from our ACE Environmental Committee. There was never an environmental asset management or asset impact study done. And this is in an area that's uphill from 4 major bodies, including the drinking water supply for St. John's, Butler's Pond, Murray's Pond, Round Pond, and Neary's Pond. And the fact that it was even accepted at the 5 to 12 before that last election, and red is up there. I'm against it.
Things are heating up. Johnny Hanlon.
Well, I was on council when this happened, and the intentions of Maggie's Place of putting the depot there, because the question has two parts. I'll just address the depot part for now, because I'll probably run out of time, but the depot part was solely thought about from a perspective of making the operations of the town more efficient by having a depot that would be more centralized, and you're not traveling both the 58 kilometers of roads or thereabouts, maybe more now that we have, and you're traveling 2 ways to get, if you pick the point and do a circle from Maggie's Place, there is, it's all the same distance, and the whole intention of Maggie's Place for the depot was to make with the town services more efficient at the time. That was what the reason for the purchase.
Thank you very much. Carol McDonald.
Well, Maggie's Place was purchased, as everybody else said, for a high price, and I do not think, I'll be honest, that it's the right place for a depot. High density, I was also against for a while, but I think we need to have high density for, in particular, seniors housing and affordable housing, which we don't have in the town anywhere. I would not like to see high density all over the town, but I would like to see it in Maggie's Place so we could at least sell some of the land and recoup some of that money. So that's my take on Maggie's Place.
Thank you very much. Dave Bartlett.
Thank you. Well, I was on the council in 2013. We purchased Maggie's Place, and the idea behind it was to move the depot. I teach at Brookside, and just about every Today, I'm saying, don't go near the depot. Avoid the trucks. Don't hang out near it. The location was fine before Brookside existed. It's not now. It's an area where we have careful drivers, but we have young children who really don't take into account many things. The location of the depot, Manny's place, is equidistant. We are operating big pieces of equipment that burn tremendous amounts of fuel to improve our services greatly. We also have a plan for a seniors home. There's a great interest in a seniors home as well as a town square where we can promote small business as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Madonna Stewart, Chair.
Yeah, I was not on council at that point in time, but I would not be in favor of having a depot down there. There's plenty of room and space, I feel, where the depot is now. The land is considered, I think, as brownfield space already, so why ruin a green space? When we need that green space there's a very high demand or a cry out for seniors home, I think that'd be, Maggie's place would be better suited for that kind of an area. And the way it was all went about, I mean, we need to ask our residents, we need to ask our advisory committees, ACE, and people who are the experts in these fields before you go forward any purchases of any land. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tina Neary.
Thank you. This conversation, for everybody's information, has been constant since within our first month of being elected back in 2017. The space and place for a depot has been a huge part of our conversations. While I'm not, and haven't been over the last number of years in the conversation, while I haven't been in favor of it being at Maggie's place, because I do agree with all of my colleagues here at the table that that would be by far better suited for other things, I do strongly believe that its home right now needs to be, we need to continue discussions, and it needs to be continued to around the table to talk about where it's best suited. I am all about the safety of our young people, and the depot now is located a mere few hundred feet from one of our largest recreational facilities in the town at Rainbow Gully. I think that something like large heavy equipment and young people do not mix. So Maggie's place, not so much. Somewhere else. I look forward to the conversation if given the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Moses Tucker.
Yes, thank you. There's quite a large chunk of land there, and the demographics of our community are such right now, and if we do a further study on it, you might find that the need for seniors facilities, housing, and a building that will accommodate people who are handicapped, people who need doctors and nurses services, similar to what's in other places in Newfoundland, Labrador, right around our own town in Conception Bay South and Torre Bay. You go to Cape Royal, Witless Bay. We got to send our seniors out into other places to find accommodations. I do believe that Maggie's Place is a golden opportunity for the development of a seniors complex in there, and a study of the demographics to determine that would be necessary. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Okay, we finished question 3. Some heated debates kind of back and forth there. It's quite exciting. So now we'll move on to, again, our 4th question. So our 4th question, again, will be read aloud twice, and the first responder will be Moses Tucker. So, the question: small business has been recognized as the backbone of many communities. Currently, the Chamber and the town has had a mutually beneficial relationship, and together we have been supportive of the community and small local businesses. What initiatives do you feel are required to support and encourage this relationship going forward? Again, small business has been recognized as the backbone of many communities. Currently, the Chamber and the town has had a mutually beneficial relationship together. We have been supportive of the community and local small business. What initiatives do you feel are required to support and encourage this relationship going forward? Again, we will start off with Moses Tucker.
Backbone of the community, small businesses, no doubt. we're certainly not gonna get any Walmarts or anything like that coming in here. So we have, over the years, I was part of the council when the Chamber of Commerce was set up, and we worked towards having small businesses recognized. We have a lot now, but we need a lot more. And working continuously with the Chamber of Commerce as a council, we should be able to develop some sort of a promotional opportunities to invite people to come in and set up businesses in our community. And that's where I feel that we want to be going.
Thank you very much. Tina Neary.
It was exciting when we were elected in 2017 to have the Chamber alongside of us also getting started. I've been a supporter of the Chamber of Commerce and all that they have done in the community. I'm the Chair of Economic Development, so I therefore had an opportunity to be a part of a task force that takes place between the Chamber and the town for the last couple of years since that was brought to our attention. And I think we do it's been referenced, beneficial relationship. I think we've done a great job at doing that. I would like to see us continue to do that together. In our first couple of years, we provided some funding to the Chamber to allow them to continue to grow and be sustainable. And that has paid back tenfold, if not more, this past year, even just this past few weeks, as a result of what the Chamber's been able to bring back to us. So I think together we continue to work together, continue to allow our small businesses to grow, keep everything local, and do the best that we can to be supportive and put these businesses in areas that will be conducive to the needs of the public and residents of the town. And that's my cue. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Madonna Stewart-Sherrick.
Thank you. I was also on the Economic and Development Committee, and also in full support of Chamber of Commerce, who in turn supported our local small businesses. Our local small business is very important to our community. I remember my kids going around trying to get donations for their soccer and their hockey and their volleyball, and all the small businesses always gave back. Chamber of Commerce gives back to the small businesses by offering workshops and in accounting in whatever other areas that the small business can do. So once again, open dialogue with our businesses, small businesses, support our Chamber of Commerce, and once again, open dialogue with them, and work together, hopefully, in the next 4 years to grow every aspect of small business.
Thank you very much. Dave Bartlett.
Thank you. I'm also a member of Economic Development and Marketing. One of the things you said, what initiatives do you encourage? We're very proud of the Chamber of Commerce for everything that you do and everything you're continuing to do. One of the initiatives that I have looked at, and my wife as well, is when we go down to the marina. We've all traveled Prince Edward Island and probably to New England. Every small town, every waterfront has small businesses there. And when we go down quite frequently to St. Philip's Marina, as well as Portugal Cove, which is different because of the ferry, there's one business down there. So when I look at it, I see all this potential. I see these towns in New England, and Prince Edward Island, and Nova Scotia, where you could have a mecca for people, a mecca for tourists. Maybe even look at expanding the marina so we can get more small boats, more craft in there as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Carol McDonald.
Dave, you stole my thunder.
I'm sorry.
I would like to also congratulate really the Chamber for all they do. They have been wonderful. We have worked very close together with the Chamber, the town, since Chamber and me. We've been there same time. And we do have a young lady now by the name of Tara who is keeping us all in tune with what's going on. But I would like to echo what Dave said, and I think we have a waterfront where we also have a lot of artists in our town that could be selling their stuff on the waterfront. Every summer we have tourists, a great place for them to go. So let's get that going, boys. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Johnny Hanlon.
Thank you. As we all know and saw during COVID, the small businesses in the community were really the backbone and the ones that we all depended on when we needed that extra little bit of something when the days that were so cold which took us at full strength. And I had the pleasure of talking about small business at the PCSP Awards, and like I said then, they are the backbone of the community. The chamber, I think, is just getting going. Like, I know we're 4 years in with the chamber, but I think there's that much more potential to actually put more in line with business. And at the end of the day, more business coming into the town will help with taxes, and then indeed keep taxes down for residents if we get more business in contributing on the business tax side of things. So I think we're in for some interesting things in the next few years and going into the future. It's all good.
Thank you very much. And Darrell Harding.
Thank you, Farrell. The initiatives I'd like to see started with the chamber, because it is a great asset to our town, and it's blossomed into be something even beyond our wildest dreams, would be to set up a procurement policy committee to help the town with our procurement for our tenders and our quotes for RFQs and RFPs. We are lacking there, and sometimes we spend too much. So we could get some help with there. I'd also like to continue the funding that we give them so that they can leverage it for other funding through provincial and federal governments to do exactly what they're doing: tourism, agriculture, arts, and small business enhancement. I'd also like to see some kind of an ecotourism, oh my God, ecotourism set up where you could have people come in here, spend a day, go for a hike, eat at the local establishment, spend a couple of hours fishing, and at the end of the day go to a arts and crafts thing. But I'd like to see them help us to get our community health clinic back, because by God, we need it here. We had it, it's never lasted. Thank you, Aaron.
As always, entertaining. I appreciate it. For the levity. Cyril Hayden.
I speak from a biased position, I guess. As a member of the Chamber of Commerce, I am the type of person that likes to move things ahead. I think we have a great tourism potential here in this community. We are now working with the government on a strategic plan for agriculture. I think at the Arts Association also, I was going to use the words we got in bed with the Arts Association, but we didn't get But anyway, we're together, the Arts Association, and that's going to flourish in the future to make this community the talk of the province. That's what I'd like to see.
Thank you very much. Paul Duffett.
Well, it seems that we're all in favor of a strong Chamber of Commerce. And I think it makes a lot of sense. Chamber of Commerce has certainly made a difference, and there's quite a few initiatives that could be expanded over time, so I think it's well worth supporting Chamber of Commerce on a go-forward basis.
Thank you very much for your responses. We can unlock the doors. We appreciate the positivity and the energy that comes from you all. Again, as obviously the Vice President of the Chamber, I'm again very much appreciative of the sponsorship and support that we've seen from the town. It is not just financial, it is with blood, sweat, and tears and volunteer hours. We very much appreciate that camaraderie and that relationship. Again, as spoken by most of the members here, it is exactly that. The small business is the backbone. And how do we leverage, say, through COVID, mobile e-commerce opportunities through the Live Local campaign, which was truly a birth child of both the Chamber and the town. So it truly is a great collaboration and great advancement idea. Hey, no?
That's right.
But I believe that this allows us in contribution to start doing gap analysis, to do exactly what Moses Tucker had initiated the idea of saying where are there gaps and how do we find a way to create utility analysis of what we have to be more surgical in our approaches for investment in our community based on the gaps and where we need to fill those things. So again, very excited about our contribution and continuing to work with, and maybe we can provide data to be able to analyze this stuff. So for my second point, I very much appreciate it. I have the mic in the conch, so okay, so we're going to move on. I appreciate that. We're going to go on now to question 5. Again, this will be read aloud twice, and we will begin with Paul Duffett as our first responder. When dealing with various levels of government, unnecessary restrictive red tape coupled with a lack of clear policies and procedures has been identified as one of the leading concerns and obstacles to progress, obstacles to progress by business and entrepreneurs. What will your solution to this ever worsening issue? Try that again.
Please.
When dealing with various levels of government, unnecessary restrictive red tape coupled with the lack of clear policies and procedures has been identified as one of the leading concerns and obstacles by progress for businesses and entrepreneurs. What will your solution to this ever worsening issue be? And we'll start with Paul Duffett.
In terms of dealing with government, I guess the town staff maintains various contacts with government agencies, regulatory bodies, and so on. And that's very important to continue that effort. One of the things I guess is coming up in the near future is a review of the town's municipal plan. And of course, the municipal plan is a very important and far-reaching document. It's when finished, it's enacted into legislation, and better that's designed, the better the town will be able to move forward.
Thank you very much. Cyril Hayden.
I must say, there's any one thing in life that has really bothered me over the years is red tape in government. Because as a volunteer, and I hope you can appreciate, I used to be the chair of the school lunch program, and dealing with politicians would drive you nuts, absolutely nuts, you know. And with a politician, the premier looked at me, Paul Davis one time, and Steve Kent, and said, he was Minister of Health at the time, he said, it's not our responsibility in government to feed children. Well, I'm not going to say what I said, because I'll be kicked out of here. But anyway, red tape is something that I think the town has to look at internally too, because there's enough red tape down in the town to fill a truck. And I think it's absolutely necessary. From what I gather from people, the red tape in this town is enough to blow your mind. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. Darrell Harding.
Thank you, Farrell. One of the things we learned over the last 4 years was that we needed to streamline things. We were graded last, before we got elected, Portugal Cove St. Phillips was graded last in times for bureaucratic processes to take place. So we have started reviewing the town plan and the regulations. The plan has been done. We've removed a lot of the ambiguity in the town plan. We're going to continue, or the next council will continue to remove the ambiguity that's there and make sure that those processes are streamlined. Then we've got to work with staff to change the culture that's down there into being more proactive and building bridges instead of building walls. That's going to take some time, but it has to be done. There's no excuse for it not to be done. And mostly important, as a municipality, we need to pressure MNL, Municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador, to get better results for us when they're talking to the province about their protocols and their timelines, because we've been waiting on provincial files for months and months and months, and we can't do lip service anymore.
Thank you very much. Johnny Hanlon.
Thank you. For most of my career, I worked in a policy, procedure, controlled environment, and if you have the right policies and procedures in place, the red tape goes away. The root cause here is proper policies and procedures, and we need to get together and during the town plan and the town regulation review, it has to be put forward so that things that come over the counter on a regular basis can be dealt with in a single day and get a decision made and move on. The red tape will take care of itself if you do the right thing with the policies and procedures and set up the regulations in a way so that we can move forward in a straightforward, controlled environment.
Thank you very much. Carol McDonald.
It's so frustrating dealing with the government departments from my point of view. I try to deal with them on a daily basis sometimes if we can't get anything settled, but I think our policy has got to change, as Johnny said, and with change in policy, I think we could do better. The town plan, of course, is now being done. We've gone through the regulations, we've gone through the plan, we've got the regulations to do. And I think when we change our policy towards the government and they see what we've got, then things will be better, we hope. So I'm hoping for the next 4 years.
Thank you very much. Dave Barlow.
Yes, in terms of red tape, when we talk about our staff, I certainly will not let anyone say anything negative about our staff. We have the finest staff, we have professionals, we have people who train in their profession and take ultimate pride in their work. Dealing with public works, we're dealing with Department of Transportation Infrastructure. Some of you may have noticed that on the roads that are known as provincial roads, these sandbags. These orange sandbags are put in there after diplomatic talk, after constructive dialogue, where we're trying to get our roads safe for residents. So Public Works is oftentimes asked for forgiveness, not for permission. And after dialogue, we put these sandbags in to make sure you don't damage your vehicle or you don't get hurt. So sometimes a diplomatic approach is the best approach, but sometimes we as well have to be proactive to make sure we protect our residents. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Madonna Stewart-Sharp.
Thank you. Just to echo, I agree with all my colleagues there. To strip the red tape away, I believe we need first to continue to review our policies and procedures. We need to streamline the processes here. Our municipal plan is in the works, is done. Our regulations is in review now to come up, so we can have, once again, our advisory committees to help us with that. Anybody with insight, we have lots of business people, lots of smart people in our community. They have great ideas. We also need to try to reduce the duplications in the system. This will shorten the time and try to get things moving a lot faster. We are always working with our staff, and that's great because they are the frontline people to our residents. And if we work together with a strong voice, I think we could get it done.
Thank you very much. Tina Neary.
Thank you. Where do I start with that one? I echo everything that's being said at the table. I'm trying to think of what to say different. And I guess the biggest piece for me is thank you to my fellow councillor down at the other end of the table there, Councillor Harding, because he's made mention that MNL needs to speak up. MNL needs to step up. MNL being Municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador. They are the organization that provides the advocacy and between municipalities and provincial government. And as I mentioned earlier, I happen to have been so fortunate to be elected to a position with MNL as Avalon Director. So I am right here in your town to be able to take back the information that's coming forward, to be able to make sure, as my motto has said, if you've seen it already, that I'm using my voice strongly to ensure that your voice is heard. And so I agree with everything that's being said, and I think that I have the opportunity to take all of that and ensure that that red tape can be removed, put to bed, and that everybody has an opportunity to share what is necessary and get things done. And don't stop. We can't stop. Thank you. I stop.
Thank you very much. Moses Tucker.
I do. I worked with the RCMP for 25 years. And red tape is not a new thing to me. We changed some of the policies and we reorganized several departments and the structure of doing business within the RCMP and made the red tape a lot less. I can see the town approaching red tape in the same fashion. First, probably reduce our own red tape in each one of the town's departments. And to work with the municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador, as Councillor Neary just mentioned, to go forward to the provincial government and work out some new policies and new methods of reducing red tape. It's a joint effort.
Thank you very much. Okay, great. I very much appreciate everybody's responses there. Again, we will go to now the final chamber-related questions before we open the floor for other questions. So again, this will be read aloud twice. Moses Tucker, you will be the first respondent. So again, I'll read this out twice, and this is a lengthy question. Diversification is an important principle when it comes to many things, but in particular with governance. With the total number of principal candidates being 11, and only 3 of them, 27%, being women, unfortunately, it does not appear the voters of our community have an opportunity for a truly gender-diverse council, and at the very best we can hope for is that we will hold the status quo. This statement doesn't address the issues of diversification as it relates to visible minorities and members of the LGBTQ community. What do you see as a possible solution to encouraging more diversification and participation in various levels of government, business, and society in general by women, visible minorities, and members of the LGBTQ community? Again, diversification is an important principle when it comes to many things, but in particular with governance. With the total number of municipal candidates being 11 out of 3, there's only 27% being women. Unfortunately, it does not appear that the voters of our community have an opportunity for a truly gender-diverse council, and at the very best we can hope for is that we hold the status quo. This statement does not address the issues of diversification as it relates to visible minorities and members of the LGBTQ community. What do you see as a possible solution to what do you see as a possible solutions to encourage more diversification and participation in various levels of government, business, and society in general by women, visible minorities, and members of the LGBTQ community? And again, we will start with Moses Tucker.
Wow. Diversification for gender equality within the municipal governments has been on the talking list of councils and governments for years. And some efforts have been made along the way. One time it was all men that were sitting around the tables. Hazel Newhook from Gander, I think, was one of the first women to sit in the provincial government. But there's a lot of things that changed there over the years, to the point now where we have a lot more women involved in government. And whatever's been going on and the motion that's been going on for that purpose is something the council should adopt and use as our agenda as well.
Thank you very much. Tina Neary.
Thank you. This is very important to me and near and dear to my heart in particular. It's part of what I do with my day job, is ensuring that everybody is treated with equity and equality. So one of the roles that I have in my position as Avalon Director is to be involved in all that is taking place with M&L, and we have released the campaign called Make Your Mark. I'm not sure if anybody is aware of that. We are trying to promote that. And what that does is make your mark on the ballot, everybody and anybody. And I think the opportunity, it's new for us with M&L, and I think the opportunity to continue being involved in that gives me the opportunity to bring that right here back into our own community. How do we get everybody to the table? Many municipalities can't even fill a slate. Many of them can't get all of the individuals involved. So I'm thrilled to see that we can, and we do have the opportunity to have individuals here in PCSP, involved and interested. So for me, I'm a member of the Women's Caucus, I'm the chair of the Youth Caucus, and very involved in all of the different committees to be able to take that information, bring it back to our community, and work together to ensure that diversification is acknowledged wholly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Madonna Stewart Sher.
I think our town can handle this or look at this by doing a research on the demographics of our own town and seeing who is actually in our own town. Reach out to them, take down the barriers, try to convince them to be involved. Everybody got a voice, everybody got a say, everybody's important, everybody brings something totally different to the table. I think if we take down the barriers, we'll get more people involved. So if you do the research and then our town kind of mirrors what the research shows, I think we'll be more progressive. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I believe we're on to Dave Barber.
Thank you. I think a lot of this has to do as well, it goes back to education in the schools. And I teach junior high, and children are very welcoming. Children, for the most part, junior, they don't judge. They don't judge, they encourage everybody. So it may be something that we can start off in grade 5, grade 6, about promoting independence of women. Certainly, it's something that needs to be looked at. It's an infancy stage. MNL is trying to make an impact with it, but I think that it's something that needs to go into the education system, where we can encourage people to take that chance. Nobody wants to go into an election not to be successful. So to teach that just to try is great. So some of these things need to be nurtured. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Carol McDonald.
Well, I think it's very important to have gender equality and I'm going to speak out right now. As the council, it's going to be elected in 2 weeks. You have the opportunity to elect a diverse council. There's 3 of us running, 3 women running here, so let's put us all back. That's my plug for tonight. I really think.
Tell them like it is.
No, like it is. That's it.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it. Johnny Hanlon.
That's the one thing I can't change.
Oh, yes, you can.
Anyway, to get back to a more serious side, the council has, and this past council has, moved forward towards diversification and gender equality and all types of inclusion issues within the town. Because believe it or not, most probably don't know here, but we have our own inclusion committee that I happen to be chair of, and we've met several times in the past year, and great diverse group of people. It's the best committee I ever sat on in my life. I even said that if I am not successful in this particular campaign, that I would actually sit on that committee going forward. It's a great group of people. We need to include them on the decision-making processes within the town, and I think you will get a very diverse way of thinking when it comes to being applied to what we move forward with any project within the town. We bring this group in.
Thank you very much. Darrell Harding.
Thank you, Farrell. Well, first thing I'm going to say, and it'll probably come back and shoot me in the foot, but outside of the fact that we have 3 ladies because they're female, these ladies are intelligent, articulate, did a great job for the town, and they deserve to be on the next council. Having said that, I think that the inclusion committee that we have is doing great work. I think we need to have an advisory committee on human affairs, gender equality, and LGBTQ issues. That will bring people out in an identified committee to take part and then give them confidence at some point to come throw their hat in the ring and serve the public from the front row. I'm touched by it because my daughter is gay, but that doesn't mean anything in the final decision. What we need is we need to have everybody from all aspects of life to gain the data to make the decisions that this town needs to make to become the town that everybody wants to be and everyone wants to live.
Thank you very much. Cyril Hayden.
I have certainly, over the years, have promoted inclusion. I can proudly say that I hired the First Lady to graduate in a welding program. And at my work, I certainly promoted people people who needed a job and couldn't get one anywhere else. I certainly hired them and promoted them. And I think that, go back to Mr. Bartlett's comments, I think we should start an education. I really believe in education, and educate everybody on up through, as well as the populace, the general populace now, I think we're starting to get educated in that area, and I think going forward, we will be a better society.
Thank you very much. Paul Duffin.
Well, diversification and inclusion are very important aspects to a vibrant and progressive community. The initiatives that the town has saw fit to get started sound very progressive, and it seems that results are being achieved. Better information is becoming available, and I think that the fact that we're seeing a more diverse candidacy in running for this election is probably an important sign that change is occurring. So I think that those efforts should be continued, and I look forward to the future.
Thank you very much. Well, impressively, we're on time.
You're welcome.
So I have 2 minutes to just do what I want.
No. Let's go.
So this one time. No, I very much appreciate, again, everybody for staying on point. You've done so well. Really, we're fantastic at making sure that you abided by those rules, and we're very fair with everybody in their time frame to give their responses. So I applaud you all for that, and wish to applaud you all again for again being here and taking on these challenges and for answering our questions for us. So we do actually have an opportunity to open up from the floor. There were some tickets that again were given out, so I'm going to draw from this, and I will then tell you the number, and then the person who has this ticket will stand up and ask a question. So the ticket number is 118087. I apologize, there's no prize. But we do appreciate you putting out a question. Thank you so much.
Okay, I've never spoken in front of a microphone before, but I'm new to Newfoundland, so if I ask a question that is quite obvious, I apologize in advance. I agree that you need to save money with, so you don't collect as many taxes, but is there any way of making money? Do you know, like maybe taking the money that you've taken from taxes and investing it? And you may already do that, but so that the council is not just taking money, but actually making money as well. The second idea I have goes to climate change, because climate change is near and dear to my heart. It scares the hell out of me. And one of the biggest issues with climate change, as far as I'm concerned, that's coming down soon is food security. And we've all heard of ML food security. So what I'm asking, and I'm going to make a suggestion too, is how do we take care of people who don't have enough food or can no longer afford food? Our demographics are increasing in age, and people are now making more money, and they're going to need to eat. And with apples at $2 an apple, my suggestion to help with that is if you've got land at Maggie's place, why not plant a food forest? Basically, tons of fruit trees, tons of berry bushes, and also use it for ecotourism. Let people walk through and pick the fruit that they need, maybe charge them $5 a bag or however you want, and then also use it as a tourist site where you charge people $5 a walk through, something like that. Or, as you had suggested, somebody had suggested up there, solar panels. The other side of climate change that I think we're ignoring a little bit is that we're thinking about mitigating climate change, in other words, bringing down greenhouse gases, but we're not really talking about what happens if a hurricane knocks out 10 blocks of houses. What do we do with those people who don't have accommodations? Do we have some sort of evacuation centers that people can go to? Or, if all of a sudden, and this is one of my little beefs is, what about the East Coast Trail where everybody's building fires, little fire pits, and I've walked it a couple of times, and the whole thing can go up in flames, right? Very scary to me, especially now with the drought conditions that we've been facing. So there's a lot of questions in there for you. Pick whichever one you want to address them. Good luck.
No, I appreciate that, and I believe it is about the food security specifically and understanding how to increase affordability and accessibility to food and opportunities. So I believe that is the core of our question. And again, we will start with Paul Duffin.
Food security, that's the question. There's been a number of initiatives that have surfaced, I guess, throughout the province. Composting, I think, is an issue that might have been raised in this community, and I know a lot of other communities are looking at that, community-based composting, in support of community-based gardening. There have been and there are some opportunities on the Avalon for community-based gardens, and maybe something that could be here for growing vegetables, root crops, things like that.
Yes, but our community-based gardens just for the individual who does the garden, not for just anybody who needs the food. An empty compost.
Very good.
So in a matter of time, I will allow the candidates that wish to answer that question to address me, and they can answer that question. If they wish not to, then that's fine, on the idea of time. Any other question after this will be addressed to an individual, and that will again save us time to giving the floor more opportunity to ask questions. So again, if you wish to answer this question, by all means, please do so, just to again address me. Otherwise, again, we will continue to move through questions.
This question is Farrell.
And if you would like to answer this question that's been asked, please just say your name to address it, and so we'll start down in this direction and move across. That makes sense. So again, Daryl, you can go ahead.
Yeah, first of all, what's your name, my love?
Elizabeth.
Hi, Elizabeth. There were very good questions and some really good suggestions in there as well. On the money one, yes, we have reserve funds put away in several accounts. Those reserve funds are put in investments and they turn over, and when they build our coffers, if you will, that way. So that answers that question. In regards to the eco farms, I'll touch on that. That's a very good suggestion. We're identifying now environmentally sensitive areas. We have a lot of agricultural land here in our town that's been sitting for a while as agricultural land. And one of the great things of the Chamber of Commerce is that we've, still only got 1 minute? Okay. One of the things about Chamber of Commerce is they took the funds that the town has been giving them to help them operate it. They've leveraged that into over $100,000 to help promote agricultural growth within the town. So that's being addressed at a starting stage right now. In regards to the one about the emergency thing, Johnny is the chair for our protective services, and he'll be able to help you with that one for sure.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else that would like to address the question? Johnny, please go ahead.
Yeah. Yes, we do have a warming center and a place to go if we have a hurricane that wipes out a neighborhood or something. We do have generators and that ready to roll to set up our rec center as a warming center / place for emergency response, and it follows in line with our emergency response plan. But to get back to the food safety, food security, it's something I've thought about for a while, but we have a lot of people in the community that have large building lots, and it could come out to be a promotional thing that you could have individual families growing certain types of vegetables and then share between other ones, so that you're not just growing the crops for yourself. You grow the potatoes, someone else grows the turnips, cabbage, and then we got to feed the chickens dinner.
Thank you very much.
I know what that is now.
Where are you from?
I'm from, originally from, I don't know, I'm mostly Toronto, and I've lived in the States. And I'm here.
Cyril Hayden.
I just want to take us back to Bill Island. Bill Island at one time had about, I think, anywhere from 12 to 14,000 people over there when the mine operated. They were self-sufficient in root crops. Okay? So we have the potential here in this community, okay, to be the breadbasket for St. John's. We have the potential. And because there's so much land there, agricultural land, that's not being used today. And if what we now are working with the government on a strategic plan to move that forward. Okay? And on the fact that tourism, that will evolve. The tourism will come with the strategic plan that we have.
Thank you very much. Does anybody else wish to address the, yes, okay, sorry, Dave Bartlett, please.
Thank you. Just about the fact where you mentioned about it could be a block of houses that lost power or lost services. The rec center was set up on Friday night with cereals, different types of foods, just in case someone did lose a roof. So when any kind of potential emergency situation comes up, the town is always prepared to help residents either on the St. Philip's side or on the Portugal Cove side. Thank you very much.
That was yellow.
That was yellow.
Ten more seconds.
Now it's ready.
Merci beaucoup.
Would anybody else like to address that question? Please, Tina Neer.
Thank you. Oh, go ahead. I'll go ahead for you. Councilor Madonna Stewart Sharp is going to speak for me. Thank you.
No problem.
Well, I would just like to echo actually once again all my fellow colleagues there. There's a lot to be done in, when it comes to food security. We do have a start. We do have community gardens when it comes to safety, as Dave and Johnny and them says. We have a warming center. It proved to be very well when we had Igor going through. We have a real well-knit community. So, but there is a lot to be done, and look forward to coming up with further ideas to enhance that.
Thank you very much. We're good.
I'd just like to say, like, a food forest is where you have fruit trees and berry bushes. It's very different than a community garden. And it's self-sustaining, so that once it gets started, it provides a lot of food. And Newfoundland is good weather for growing.
For sure. Carol McDonough.
I'd just like to say that there was a lot of questions in that question. And I think a lot of our councillors or candidates have answered most of them. But if you would like, if you want to put it in writing and send it to us, there's a lot of possibilities there for sure.
Thank you.
And, I wouldn't mind just talking about it, but can I suggest something before my time's up?
Please.
I was here the other night and the questions asked from the audience was to a particular candidate. To save time, because it is getting 8:45,
Yeah,
that's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, that was.
We're being real nice to the lady from away.
okay, not a problem, not a problem.
Doors, possible doors.
We've done well, I believe. We've done well.
Yes,
Please,
okay.
there's one tiny more suggestion. Because I'm new here and I didn't know a darn thing when I got here, a welcome package to anybody buying a house here in our area would be great, so that all businesses could maybe, put their cards in or something, and so I would know where to go for whatever.
Please visit our Live Local website. We very much appreciate.
But there's something about a welcome
For sure.
in your mailbox or at your house that's just so lovely.
Mm.
I'll bring you over
Next
some.
question. Next question.
That's it. There you go. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
All
I
right.
still wanted my turn. Thank you very much. I'm going to say it really,
I
really
thought you
quick.
said you were fine.
No, well, I let you go first.
No arguing with mama.
Here we go.
Very, very quickly, as Chair of Economic Development and Tourism, Marketing, and Communications, thank you very much for your suggestion. I'll take that back to them about the welcome package. The next piece that I think is important to recognize as well is that the community gardens, of course, is just a starting feature for many municipalities. We also, myself and my fellow colleague here, are also part of the board of directors for the Northeast Avalon Food Bank, and it is a food bank. We have food banks here in our community as well, but food security is always a conversation at the table there as well. Nothing, I just wanted to say this, nothing hurts my heart more than hearing that there's a storm, hearing that there's COVID, hearing Snowmageddon, and walking into our grocery stores in St. John's and looking at the shelves empty. That hurts my heart to think that people have to go through aisles and aisles and load up their shelves and load up their carts, because they're afraid that they're not going to have enough food. So that's, I'm not saying anything that's new, I'm just saying that that's something that I'm very aware of, and it's, of course, very near and dear to me as well. So thank you for your questions. Oh,
Appreciate it.
I forgot to look that way. I was talking to the lady.
Mr. Tucker.
Moses Tucker.
Yes. The statistics back many, many years ago, and the census identified St. Philip's as a leading producer of dairy products. However, there was not a dairy farm as such that you know now in St. Philip's. But everyone had 2 cows, 3 cows, or 5 cows. And if you looked at the total population of the community back in my grandfather's days, then it created a dairy farm, a big dairy farm. And they grew their own hay, and they had root cellars, and they grew their own vegetables. All of these things were part and parcel of the culture of Newfoundland not too long ago.
Are we still allowed to have cows?
There is one animal unit in certain areas and within the town. You can have chickens, you can have a goat, you can have a cow with a calf, and this kind of stuff.
So only in certain areas, not like in my house.
In any case,
Yeah.
I'm paying no
I
mind.
appreciate that. Everybody weighed in, so we didn't save time there, but that's okay. So we'll move on to the next question.
Sorry for taking up so much time.
That's okay. We all know you now. Welcome. We hope you have a good time. Stay. Our next question, which will be addressed to only one person. Choose wisely. The number is 118083.
I'm sorry the person's not here, but I have a question for him.
Okay, not a problem. No,
He's not here that I want to speak to.
not a problem. We appreciate it. We will draw the next name and number here, or number. 118088.
Bingo.
Fantastic.
You got my cream, take my time.
No, they're gonna come to you.
Yeah, you
Oh,
just
please,
sit
you
down,
stay
it's
there.
fine.
That's okay.
I would like to see if it's okay with everybody.
No, please, and please direct your question to a single candidate, if you can.
I'll direct it to Daryl Hearn. Is that okay with you, Daryl?
Yes, madam.
I'd like to make a couple of comments before I put my question to you. I think this town's in good hands, both the current council and those aspiring to do so, from what I've heard here this evening. The other thing I'd like to say is when you get the red tape sorted out, will you please share it with Service NL and the Department of Transportation? Based on about 4 months of frustration in the past year. My name is Joyce Churchill, and I have a question, and it's health related. I have about 60 years, and now, like my sister Carol said, you'll figure out my age. But I have about 60 years of intimate involvement with healthcare. And this community, going back more than 30 years, had primary health care that worked really well. That primary health care is more important today than ever. And the World Health Association, or whatever they call it, have said that public health will be on the front line of healthcare in the next several years based on the virus that we've been dealing with. Healthcare, primary healthcare in Portugal Gulf St. Philip's was significantly reduced in 2018, 3 years ago. It wasn't taken away, but it was made very much more difficult. In the 5 principles of the Canada Health Act, assessment, I believe, is probably one of the most important, because you can have what you like in infrastructure, trained people, or whatever. Access to it is all important. The better the access, the better the outcome. I would like to ask Daryl, and I'm sure that lots of conversations have gone on in the town over the past couple of years based on this. The primary health program in Portugal St. Philip's was unceremoniously and cavalier attitude taken away from this community. Finally, absolutely disappeared, while the people of Portugal Cove and its leaders, you and those aspiring to be, were hoodwinked or fooled or lied to, however you would want to put it. In saying we're going to take another look, and that continued up until just hours before the U-Haul trucks left. It's absolute disgrace and shameful. Daryl, I would like to ask you, going forward, what you would suggest doing about this.
Well,
I'd like to say for everybody else here, the government then promised consultations with the people, and these were held, and they did an environmental scan as well. And the results came back clearly what the people wanted. They wanted primary health care in this community. Thank you.
that's a good question, and I'm sure that everybody that at this table will share a concern for where we're to right now. What I would suggest, whether I'm elected or whether I'm not elected, I'll still be active in doing this, is we need to push for the reopening of those meetings with the committee that was set up. They haven't had them under the guise of COVID, as you know. We have the Premier of the province living in our town right now, so I think we need to get him actively participating in it. We know we were lied to by Mr. Diamond and his bean counter that came to the meeting and looked me in the eye and said we didn't have mental health care services in our town, when I knew we did, intimately knew that we did. So what we wanted and what we asked for is assessment, proper assessment, diagnosis, treatment, follow-up treatment, and then hopefully resolution. And those are the 5 things that I want to keep moving forward, and I'm sure everybody will echo here at the table. And the only way we can do that is become active. We sat on our hands, we trusted people that we thought we could trust. It didn't work. And the only way that you're going to have, no, you don't have to be militant. We're not going around with Molotov cocktails or anything, but we will be more vocal and use the media to our advantage.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I believe I'm going to try for one more question. We're going to give the individual who does ask the question again to a single candidate, and we will time you on that question. So you have a minute to ask your question. We very much appreciate the information that's been provided. We very happy to have everybody here for this, and like I said, we're just going to drop one more question. So, number is 118084. There we go.
Thank you. I'm going to ask Carol McDonald. Since I moved to the community about 60, 70 years ago, it's always been, we need affordable housing, we need seniors housing and whatnot. But if you look at, we go back to red tape, we look at our development regulations and whatnot, they're so restrictive that it don't make sense to put affordable housing or seniors housing, and it don't make sense to take seniors and put them all in one area. Then you're segregating a certain population, which doesn't make sense either. So what do you commit to doing with the town plan, the town regulations, to make it more feasible, make more sense for someone to come in and put in affordable housing on small scales, so that people can rent a unit or two, or someone on low income can rent?
Okay, well, that's, the part of your question that you asked, or you said, was not all in one area. I failed to see your understanding on that, because all seniors complexes are mostly in one area, so that the seniors themselves, like, I'm alone, and if I wanted to go to a senior's home, I don't want to go somewhere where it's only one place. I would like to go where there's a community of seniors, so that I could be part of it. Affordable housing, I think, is the same thing. There's certainly a need for affordable housing, But getting back to the seniors, because that's my baby since I got in, I would like to see seniors complexes built somewhere in the town. And I wish somebody would come forward, and I think we do have an application in now for it. I would love to see somebody come forward with some land to build some seniors housing in the one area.
Well, we have seniors that can look after themselves, just need somewhere to stay. We don't need a big building with 50, 60 units. I have a brother in Nova Scotia, he has 3 or 4 unit buildings that got 2 units in each one, and they're rented to seniors. He looks after himself there and whatnot. They're part of the community. If you put them, we're talking about people that can still drive, can still look after themselves and whatnot. We're not talking about someone that needs care or whatever, so we need somewhere that someone could, they don't need the maintenance of the house and maintenance of the grounds and whatnot and get out the snow there. But right now, the regulations don't allow, I can build a 3-bedroom house with a 2-bedroom basement apartment, but I can't build a building with 2-bedroom units in it, which doesn't make sense. We go to any other community, you drive Babel, Harbor Grace, we see these buildings 6, 7, 8, 10 units in them. But our town won't allow it because of the restrictions of the regulations and the red tape.
Okay, that's why we've changed the regulations, or we're trying to change the regulations. The regulations have not gone through, but I look at seniors complexes. I know what you're talking about, a seniors home. That's not what I'm talking about. A seniors home, I don't think we need a seniors home in our town to have, like you say, 100 rooms or something. Maybe we do need a smaller scale seniors home. I certainly wouldn't be against a seniors home, but I would like to see individual seniors complexes. I look at Ruby Line, for instance. They've got, I think, 2 or 3 joined together. They're excellent. That's just what I talk about. That's what I would like to see in our town. And they're only 1 story. They're very attractive. They're not, people got their own little gardens. They got their own little gardens there.
I'm gonna end that there, so I very much appreciate the question in response to that question.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. So, like I said, we wanted to engage discussion on the open floor. We've done so. We've asked a few questions. We very much appreciate the kind, candor, and questions that were asked of the candidates and the responses they were able to give on that. So, what we're going to move on to now are the closing remarks from each one of the candidates. Going to give them again a minute to be able to again say their piece. And again, we're going to begin with Paul Duffin.
Well, I'd just like to thank everybody for coming out here this evening. It's been a very informative session, I think, for everybody. But I think one of the big takeaways here is the issue of red tape, the issue of regulations, the issue of revisions to the municipal plan. And I think if we want to see change, town participation in that review is going to be critical. We need to hear what people like or dislike about the regulations. We need to hear about suggestions for change.
Thank you very much. Cheryl Hayden.
I believe personally in strategic planning. It's so important for an organization like this. I also am a problem solver. I know how to reach out to people. I'm a team member, and I have the knowledge and experience to help move this town forward. Thank you.
Daryl Harding.
Thank you, Farrell. Well, 4 years ago, we started on this journey together. You asked us to do a job, and I think we did a great job. I'm happy to say and proud to say that we've opened up doors, we've listened. We've had community input on every decision we've made, and we've reversed a lot of those decisions that we had thought we were going to have made because of that input. That's how a town works. I believe in your ideas. I believe in your information. And if you believe in my ideas, and you think we did a good job, then I hope you consider voting for me for re-election on the 28th of September, or an advanced polling day on the 16th. And that's the only one I got in before the 1 minute was up.
Well done, Daryl. Johnny Hanlon.
Thank you. This was a great exercise tonight. It's great to see more than 6 or 8 people in the crowd. We usually get these things here and you fill up your 2 hands, that's as many as you're going to get, but great to see the interest in the town going forward. I hope that when we come asking for you to help us with the revisions to the town plan, and I think everybody here, I'd like you to take away what would be your vision of the community in 10 years' time, because this is what we need to plan for in our new town plan, and everybody's vision now is completely different than what it was in pre-2014 when the existing town plan was in. We've, a lot of changes have happened, climate change, the environmental concerns, and the list goes on of what needs to be brought into the new town plan. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Carol McDonald.
Thank you very much, and I'd like to thank the Chamber again for hosting this tonight. And one more thing, Mr. Sturridge, that I wanted to add. That's why we've got a rezoning or zoning for high density, especially for seniors and affordable housings, so that we could build those. And that's a reason for that. But I just wanted to thank everybody for coming tonight, and as you can tell, I'm sure by now that I'm not a public speaker. I like to behind the scenes, and that's where my comfort zone is, but I make lots of mistakes, and I'm not proud of that, but we all do that, and I just want to thank my 2 daughters that are here tonight. I didn't mention them in the beginning, but my 2 daughters are here, and now I see my sister. So thank you all for coming, and let's get this rolling.
Dave Bartlett.
Thank you. I'm very proud of what we've accomplished, and we as the team in the past 4 years, and as well as the 2013 council. What happens on election day, there's 7 people, but there's 80 to 100 people as well. So your voices are heard. You've seen it over the years where people have made recommendations, people have objected, and we've listened. So no matter what the outcome, be quick to contact council. Be quick to ask the questions. And that's very important in the democratic process. So if you're part of it, you're part of the solution. And we all have a deep love for this town.
Thank you. Madonna Stewart, Chair.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the Chamber of Commerce for hosting this. I am also not a public speaker. I'm good one-on-one, but in any case, I see a lot of challenges in our town that can be worked through. One of it is the regulations, I'm hearing. We need, I guess, to loosen up them for development. We have to look at our youth and facilities for them and programs for our seniors. I have the education in the past, and experience, 4 years of experience. There's a steep learning curve in municipal governing in 4 years, so I can build on that, what I have here now. And I have a proven track record for listening to people and actually following up. If you ask me to do something to help you, I will be there to help you the best I can within our rules and regulations and laws.
Thank you very much. Tina Neary.
Thank you. I just wanted to mention that, again, yes, thank you to the Chamber for hosting this event. I also have in the last hour and a half or so developed an anxiety to the color yellow. I just wanted to put that out there. So I'm going to talk real fast so I don't have to see it again. One of the things that didn't come up this evening that I didn't have a chance to discuss at all is what's very near and dear. Many of you who do know me know that I have a great passion for mental health. That is what I do in my full-time position. It's what I've also been very involved in the last 4 years, is making sure that mental health services are addressed here in our community for young people, especially children, families, and anybody else who requires it. There it is. So I would like to continue to be able to do that. I'd like to continue to be able to work with young people. I'm gonna say this so fast. We had an event, it's a chamber event, the open mic night. Nothing again warmed my heart more than to see how many young people showed up to that event and how many of the young people came to us and said, we want something in our community. We don't want to go downtown, we want to stay right here. So that's something else I'd like to focus on with our team if I'm given the opportunity to do so. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening.
Thank you very much. Moses Tucker.
So I guess I'm the closer, am
You are.
I? First of all, thank you to the Chamber for inviting us here tonight and for allowing us to express our quick answers to the questions that have been arisen. And I want to go on with what Joyce mentioned there a little bit earlier with health services. There are other needs in this community besides the little clinic that we have down here now, and it's pretty good what we do have. But a dentist, we're big enough to have a dentist, physiotherapy people, and so forth. Those are services that we need here in this town. Seniors housing, CMHC funding is available. They pay for it by the door. Demographic study is essential to make sure that we know what we're planning will address all the needs of the seniors in this community. And that's what I'm going on council for. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Again, I want to thank each one of the candidates for coming out here and allowing us to ask these questions, as well as the ones from the audience. I want to thank the audience for also being here. Again, it warms my heart to see people coming out and being a part of the democratic process and asking these questions. So very much thank you for coming out. I'm going to pass the floor back over to our president. Michael, please come and give your closing comments. Thank you.
Yeah, what a great evening. We've got such great candidates. Thank you all for coming out this evening. And thank you to the audience. Fantastic, great turnout. Just a couple of notes. We didn't, when we had the federal candidate event the other evening, I didn't have the opportunity to say, but we had 4 candidates, 3 women running in this district. So things are changing. I'm delighted to see that. The other thing that seems to be a strong part of the discussion this evening is, of course, the need for senior citizens to have housing and affordable housing here. It's a resounding kind of theme that keeps coming from all of you. And I'd suggest maybe the Chamber, with the new council, might strike a committee together to think about how we might achieve that goal, and to do it with the kind of style and grace and diversity that we need to have when we're contemplating that kind of a housing complex. We do have a climate change plan. We put it together between us. But now the next step is, how do we implement that plan? So I'm challenging all of us here to participate in that process as well. And finally, not quite finally, Tina, you struck on something that really is near and dear to my heart and many of us here, is the business of red tape. And I'm going to challenge all of you again and ourselves, because I believe that municipal politics is very grassroots, very community-based. And I think collectively, if we have a voice that we should really start to collectively bring together to say to both the provincial and federal governments that you guys got to cut through the red tape and stop the nonsense, because you're holding us up, moving ahead, and being progressive. So we've got that power. We need to exercise it. And you are right on to it, Tina. And finally, I have this glowing feeling that the Chamber has become an important part of our community. You all spoke to it in such an affectionate and supportive way. I was so pleased. And so I guess we'll pledge to continue to work with the community to improve our town, improve the opportunities for all of us who live here. And I want to thank you for that support. Now, it's all on tape. We got you on film. You made a lot of statements here this evening. And guess what? We're going to hold your feet to the fire. And ourselves. So thank you once again. It's been a great evening. And I wish you all the best of luck. And it is up to us now to get out the vote. And then from there, to work with the new council for the betterment of Portugal Cove St. Phillips. So thank you very much.
Thank you.